Okay guys, welcome back to techgooch for another video review. Here I am back with a keyboard case for you iPad Pro owners out there. Now I have the iPad Pro 10.5. They actually do also make this case for other iPads, including the 9.7-inch versions. But this is for the iPad Pro 10.5. It is what they call a 360, or they call it the F360 model number itself. Wireless keyboard. It has a lot of actually handy features to it. It has this basically custom molded case that actually fits the iPad perfectly. It actually sits down in this groove down here, this channel, and then it locks in, and that's it. It already has cutouts for the speakers on both sides, as well as for the camera, and of course there's a little window so you can actually see the Apple symbol. Of course you gotta have that, right? But the handy thing about it is, yes, you can use it in a tablet type mode. And still protect the keyboard keys so you're not jamming on those. But it's heavy enough where even if you have it at a heavy angle, it doesn't tip. Which I think is actually a big plus, especially if you're going to do it on a tabletop or on your lap even. It just has a different feel to it. It's basically made out of ABS plastic as well as aluminum, and it definitely has a little bit of heft to it because of that aluminum, but it has a really good feel to it as well because of that as well. The plastic top gets a lot of fingerprints. It is a shiny surface, so just like your screen, you will get a lot of fingerprints down here. One thing to be mindful of as well, I wish that would have been a matte surface. If there's something that I would change on here, that would be one of them, putting a matte surface rather than a glossy surface. There's a USB, I should say a micro USB port on the side for charging, as well as an on-off switch here on the side for connection to the iPad. Backlit keys, and they also have what's called breathing mode. There's LED lights on the side that actually kind of glow and change colors if you have that enabled. And I'm going to show you that here in a second when we actually dim the lights down and showcase what it can do. One thing I do take note, they do give you instructions on how to do all the pairing and what all the keys do and all the shortcuts. Control C, Control V, or Command, sorry. All those standard functions are in here as well. I did have to actually use the function C, which is the function Bluetooth basically button on it in order to start pairing to it. Turning it on the first time, it didn't just automatically go into pairing mode, so that's something I do want to bring up as well. If you turn it on and you go into your Bluetooth settings and you can't find it, make sure you use the function C button, which there's a little Bluetooth button on there, which essentially adds and opens up and starts the pairing mode. So that's something to keep in mind as well. You will have to do that. But that said, battery life's pretty awesome on it. So I've been using it for about 3 weeks. I haven't recharged it yet. I don't use the backlights and the keys a whole lot, but let's go ahead and dim the lights down so you can take a peek at what the keys look like in the dark, and then we'll finish it up. Welcome to the dark. Now there is a button here, as you can see here. I have it lit up now. Right down here, a little light or light bulb, basically is what it shows. Maybe I'll zoom into the case a little bit better. Alright, so I'm going to keep everything on here, but the light bulb here, I can actually control how bright it is, 3 different brightness settings. Let me put it on its brightest settings. I can also change the color by the button here right next to it. So we go from red, green, let's click on blue, yellow, pink, kind of a teal, then back to white. Now there's also, like I said, a breathing light. If I actually hit function and Q, which is the breathing light, let's hit that, you'll see lights on the side glow up, and then it'll actually change colors and constantly flow. You can change the speed of that as well by hitting function and W. There's a little runner icon. It'll change how fast it goes. And there probably are 3 different modes there as well. Maybe just 2. Probably just slow and fast, huh? So it has this kind of neat mode to it. If you want to stop the breathing lights at any time, you just hit function Q. It'll kill that. And then with the actual keyboard, again, just hit the light bulb, whatever you want to change those settings. Now, you saw that here when I didn't touch the keyboard for a while. It did go to sleep. Let's go and actually put the breathing lights on too. Let's see if it'll go to sleep and what will actually turn off here. So there we are asleep. You can see the breathing lights are actually still on. The tablet obviously is still running, but then again I'm trying to keep that on. But if I just touch any button on the keyboard, it'll wake back up. I'm going to go ahead and turn the breathing lights off. Now there is one other button that I do find handy. Obviously we have all these function buttons up here to change the brightness of the actual iPad. These are all iPad controls up here, and we can just go ahead and lock the iPad at any time by hitting the lock button. If you click it again, it'll unlock it, and of course you have to use in my case I have to use my thumbprint to actually get back to the home screen. And the keyboard is standard. You have your standard commands, control Command C or Command X, Command V for copy, cut, and paste. You do also have, when you actually first get this, when you turn it on for the first time, at least in my case, it did not automatically go to Bluetooth search mode. So like on your iPad, you can go to settings of Bluetooth to find something, but you have to have this actually sending out that signal. So when you turn it on for the first time, all you have to do is hit function C, or the Bluetooth symbol here on the C symbol, and then it'll actually go into a standard, whatever, 2 or 3 minute search cycle, so you can actually find it on your iPad and go from there. So pretty awesome in how it actually works. So that is what it looks like in the dark. To remove the iPad is fairly simple. The only place that's really holding onto these two clips, it can't pop out of the bottom because it actually sits kind of down in a channel. So you do kind of have to pry a little bit, I guess, from starting at one corner. It's easier if I actually do it away from me, but you just kind of pry it a little bit there and a little bit there, and then she just starts coming out, and then you can tip it and just slowly work it out. But once it's out, it just comes right out. So it's not too difficult. You don't want to, I mean, it's hard because the edge of this is so small to pry a little bit, but it's just these two little clips right there and right there. And they're not small, they're a good 2 inches long that are actually holding onto the iPad itself. Storage wise, it's, you know, if you add the both bulk together, it gets a little heavy because it is two of them. I do like to point out this as well. As an iPad Pro owner, I use an Apple Pencil. There is no place on this to attach your Apple Pencil. Something I always want to point out. I understand that not everybody has their Apple Pencil with them, especially if you're going to use the keyboard case. I will say that that's kind of what I've gone into. If I'm going to be in the case where I'm going to use the keyboard case, I use the case. If I don't feel I'm going to need the keyboard, I put it back in my other case that has an Apple Pencil holder. If this had a place to put my Apple Pencil, like back in here or something, or even on the outside, I probably would use this more frequently, but I like taking that with me. Second thing about it is the actual drop resistance. This is not a whole lot of protection. It's more slimlined, which I like, but not everybody does. Some people want a little more drop protection for their iPad. If you're going to drop it in this, you're probably going to do some damage. Now that said, if it's closed, of course the rigidity of the case is going to help, but it still can actually teeter a little bit, right? Because it is that 360-degree motion. That's one thing that I will definitely point out as well. So, pretty awesome case. Battery life, I did want to get that real quick because they do actually specify it. They say it's got a 500 milliamp hour battery built into it. Life expectancy of the battery is about 3 years, but working time, 5 hours with the backlight on, 180 hours without the backlight on, which I don't use the backlight a whole lot. So that's why I'm getting a lot of usage out of it. Weight of this thing without the iPad in it is 1.67 pounds. They also say that it takes about less than 2 hours to recharge it from zero, which is about right for 500 milliamp hours. That's not a whole lot. But that's also probably why it doesn't weigh a crazy amount, right? So, definitely check this out. It's from the guys over at iEGrow. I will put links where you can actually purchase this guy if you're interested. Pretty awesome little case, to be honest. I like the keyboard. It functions really well, and the backlight is awesome, especially if you're typing at night. So, if you have any other questions, post those below. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Give it a thumbs up there if you could. And we'll catch you on a future video. Thanks for stopping by.